Good morning once again and welcome to the show. If you have just joined us, you're welcome. If you started already with us, you are welcome. Thank you so much for choosing to watch UBC TV. My name is Julie Nantaba Musisi, and agriculture being the backbone of Uganda, today we are unpacking the conversation of agricultural value chain and financing through cooperatives. And to do that unpacking with us, we have two amazing guests who are able and have all the authority to speak into this matter. But before I even introduce them, allow me remind you that you have to save the number 0709 602 592. It's the WhatsApp number that you are able to engage them with questions or opinions, as well as what you think about the conversation we are having today. Once again, good morning. And in studio with me is Mr. Emoy John Peter, who is the Senior Investment Manager at Uganda Development Bank. He is right next to me, my immediate neighbor. But his immediate neighbor is Mr. Richard Sempija, who is the Central Regional Coordinator of the Uganda Cooperatives Alliance. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
And I will start with you, Mr. Richard Sempija, starting the note off with Uganda Cooperatives Alliance. To simplify and build perspective, really, for our viewer, explain how the agricultural value chain works.
Thank you so much. My name is Richard Sempija. From the Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Good morning, Uganda. Good morning, cooperators. Good morning, viewers. Yes, when you talk about the value chain, it simply means that we look at all activities that are involved in production, from production up to the table. Let us take an example of maize, for example. If you went to a store, you'll find maize brand, you'll find posho at the stalls. But this has gone through various stages. So these various stages involve production, it involves value addition, it involves distribution, it involves processing, until it reaches the final consumer. So basically, there are a wide range of activities that happen across all that value chain. And those activities, mostly, these products go through until the final consumer is able to use this product. Yes. Basically, it is a connection of all those activities that are involved in the production of all those activities and products. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for that preamble, Mr. Richard Sempija. And now coming over to you, Mr. Emoy John Peter. Tell us about Uganda Development Bank, to someone who hears about it but doesn't understand it, and to someone who has never heard about it. Just build a brief introduction.
All right. So thank you. Thank you, UBC, thank you all the viewers. So to begin with, Uganda Development Bank is a development financial institution which is wholly owned by the government of Uganda. It's an old bank established in 1972. Now, this bank is operating as a DFI, or Development Financial Institution, with the mandate of socio-economic transformation of Uganda. In what it does, it offers what you call financial and non-financial interventions or services. Now, these, of course, include both what you call equity and also debt. Now, beyond that, just a bit to touch more, when it comes to non-financial interventions, the intention really is that the purpose is to build businesses, especially small businesses. And today we're talking about cooperative societies, associations. Most of these players in the agriculture value chain, more so the smallholder farmers, have a lot of weaknesses. To address that, the bank definitely established the non-financial intervention. We call it Enterprise Support Service, which is intended really to help build capacity of the farmers, the smallholder farmers, as well as, of course, the small agro-processors, to enable them really meet the requirements, first of all, to access debt, not just say from the bank, Uganda Development Bank. It could also be in any other financial institution that they would like to go to. But above all, to build a sustainable business within them. You realize that there is a research that says that most of our businesses really go down maybe 2 years after getting birth. Now, we're aware of that, and in the agriculture value chain, the bank definitely took up that intention to deliberately try to address the problems. This can be issues of corporate governance, issues of bookkeeping, technical backstopping in terms of, say, extension services that the farmers require. This is what we call non-financial interventions. But beyond that, we also look at what you call project preparation, which is to enable, an investor within the agricultural space, small or medium, to be able to have his project prepared, to make it bankable and acceptable, so that they can actually be able to pass the requirements that the financial institution look out for. So those are the interventions that the bank currently undertakes. And that's really what brings us into the agricultural space. We are very glad to be able to move along, of course, with all actors, Uganda Cooperative Alliance, in this cause.
Right. When you say smallholder farmers, do you mean a farmer at grassroots level?
Yes, those are the, on average, maybe 2 acres at the lowest level. And these are the people who are members of cooperative societies and associations. And those are the people we speak to. And those are the people to whom we've been able to build solutions that then go towards supporting them to increase production. And if you realize, commercial farming does not necessarily mean that one has to have a large-scale farm. No. Even 1 acre and a half or 2 is all commercial farming. The intention has to be that you're producing for the market to make money, to be able to improve your household income. That's really commercial farming.
Right. You are watching Good Morning Uganda, and this morning we are talking about agricultural financing, and in particular with Uganda Development Bank. That's why we have guests, one from Uganda Cooperatives Alliance, but the other from Uganda Development Bank. Now, Mr. Peter, you say that you mentioned that the bank supports private businesses that align with development priorities. Yeah. One would wonder what these development priorities are exactly. Okay, so
being a development financial institution, we are an arm of government that enables access to what you call affordable credit to the people in the agriculture sector. Of course, we also intervene in other sectors. Now, if you look at the National Development Plan, we have, the National Development Plan has identified priority sectors. In this is where the bank puts in its attention. One of the priority sector is what you call agriculture. Agriculture value chain finance takes in consideration supporting production, processing, marketing. Now, that is one key sector which is already enshrined in our National Development Plan. And I'm talking about National Development Plan 4. Again, you look at manufacturing as a key area. Of course, if you look at agriculture, somehow it links to manufacturing when you talk about agro-processing. Outside that, we also come in to talk about education, health, infrastructure, all as sectors that are enshrined in the National Development Plan. Just to note, UDB has what you call high impact goals. These are key intentions that the bank would like to achieve over the next 5 years. One of it top is what you call building a sustainable agri-food system. In this, we really want to see how Uganda can be able to clean up its process in terms of agriculture challenges, to address production challenges, to address processing challenges, and as well as marketing. And of course, this again looks at promoting key value chains that then become a very core aspect of the transformation of the economy of Uganda. That's why we're putting it as a high impact goal. And talking about what you call agri-food system. The system means that you're addressing everything, not just about financing, not just about, say, gaps associated to the producer, but also policies in place and others that may require to be, revised. Then beyond that, we're also looking at what you call a sustainable manufacturing or industry sector, which is now about then processing and other things, and also building sustainable services sector. So those are the 3 core high impact goals that the bank has at its helm. So in the strategy, as we're looking at now, we're definitely looking at how we can be able to build those 3 areas.
Right. 0709602592, that is a WhatsApp number that you can engage and ask your questions away. Now I'm moving on to you, Mr. Richard Sempija. How are cooperatives supporting farmers to engage meaningfully in the agricultural value chain?
Thank you so much. Cooperatives are basically formed by organized people. We organize people in groups of from 30 and above. We sensitize them. We train them as an alliance. We empower them to look out for different enterprises. They do what we call enterprise selection. They select enterprises that they do, and because of the organizing and the good structures we set up for them, they are able to collectively choose an enterprise to take on, for example, if it is maize, and they collectively grow this maize. So we use the power of cooperation, organizing them, the group cohesion, working together to ensure that these farmers collectively work together to produce a selected value chain. What normally happens is that there are structures in a cooperative. These structures support the farmers to work together. At the end of the day, after they have collectively produced, they also work on the issue of collective marketing, because they can have a common voice, collective bargaining power. So we mobilize these cooperatives, we mobilize farmers, because the setup of our cooperatives is majorly made up of farmers at grassroots level. Yeah. So we support the value chain through organizing the farmers, training them, and empowering them to work together.
Right. Now, let me come to you, Mr. Emoy. Peter, are there any specific financial products at UDB that are tailored for agricultural financing?
Okay, so like stated earlier, the bank has a key interest in agriculture, and definitely we've been able to build solutions that really address the core needs of the agriculture sector. And that again takes us from the smallest smallholder farmer, medium to large scale. So the interventions that we have are quite many. First of all, we have what we call the farmer group or rural finance model. That model is one that has enabled us to be able to reach out to the small farmers in cooperatives, in associations. This specifically is a product built to be able to take us to access or fund such categories of people. In doing so, we offer them other products, including asset finance. These asset finance products are purposely built to enable them really have a situation of how they can be able to own up assets that are required to boost up their work. It could be production. Somebody would like to access, say, a tractor. In that, we can be able to offer them, an asset finance loan. Why so is because some of our corporates and cooperators do not necessarily have, say, land titles. So these assets become the core security. Beyond that, we also have what you call crop finance or working capital solutions. This enables the cooperators and cooperatives to access monies that they can use for bulking grains, bulking products or produce that has come from their farmers. Now with that, it enables definitely access to market and issues of joint bulking and marketing easy. And then you also have term loans. Term loans are now a bit of sizable in terms of the period they take. These are really purposed to support a bit of larger or longer interested capital areas. Say one is establishing an irrigation system. Say one probably is doing a land clearance of a fairly large sizable piece of land. Now that then definitely requires a fairly medium to large loan, which would be able to help him invest and eventually recoup that over time. So there are quite solutions that are there. And again, of course, outside the financial interventions, we also have, like I already opened earlier, issues of what you call capacity building. It's also a solution or a product that we offer, which is intended definitely to just build capacity of this. And we also have equity. Equity now enables the bank to invest together with the client or a farmer or an agro-processor in that particular business. I can say in terms of the agricultural solutions that we built, we have solutions that entirely fit into the environment that people need or the farmers need. And the bank is quite flexible in terms of its structuring. We do not have what you call a one-size-fits-all. It has to be tailored, that when you come in, we're able to listen to your story and structure a solution or an intervention that then fits you in terms of the payment cycle, the grace period, all that, because we have to understand that you know your business, and so we have to be able to really to mold that product,
right,
to suit exactly what you need to see.
Right. Yeah. And from what you've said, it paints a picture, and indeed from what Richard also stated, that Richard, you empower the farmers at grassroots level, but it also shows that there is some form of practical sensitization. And the both of you will help me paint this picture. I'll start with you, Mr. Richard. Yeah. How exactly do you practically paint a picture for one to actually understand and get the actual gist of how it's done? How you engage these grassroots farmers and are able to connect them to the Uganda Development Bank?
Thank you so much. We use the power of cooperation. You see, these farmers have different issues that they go through across the value chain, and these issues are at different stages. For example, of late, we have been conducting a profiling activity in Uganda, looking at the groups involved in production of different enterprises, different crops. And these groups were pointing out one of the challenges, the biggest challenges was lack of access to affordable financing. So when we identify these groups, we work with them to identify different stakeholders, because there are quite a number of stakeholders that support the smallholder farmers in different capacities. But when it comes to financing, once we identify the challenges, like we have identified them in the profiling activity we have been having, and a project called FORT Project, Farm Organization for Rural Transformation, is going to take place across the country. We are going to implement it together with Agritera. These activities, we identify the issues, and then we do what we call a stakeholder mapping. We try to look for who is available that can provide a solution to these farmers. So through doing that, we work with different partners, and in particular now, we have to partner with UDB to ensure that we address some of these challenges, because we already have the data, the information, and the biggest of all is lack of access to affordable financing, to finance activities across the value chains. Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And I'll pose the same question to you, Mr. Emoy. The practical sense of how you get in touch with these grassroots farmers. How is UDB engaging?
So the power of collaboration and partnership is what enables us to reach out to that person. We have UCA, who's one of the strongest partners that we have. And
right.
Of course, at UCA alone, you're talking about thousands of cooperatives and associations that are its members. So we work through partnerships, we work through collaborations with like-minded, actors who definitely have access to such. Aware that we're a development bank, we may not be able to have, say, a typical physical presence everywhere. But the power of cooperation is one that we use to be able to reach. So we partner with agencies that work with these people, and they take us down and we meet them. UCA is one key partner whom we've been working with over the years. Beyond that, nationally, there are also non-government organizations who literally, support these cooperatives and associations in different parts of the country. He has just mentioned one, Agritera, but again in the northern part and the eastern. So we have a pool of all those development agents and partners who we work with, who then coordinate us, and we're able to reach out to them. And also, while we do that partnership, you find that we're not just going in as a lender, but we're also coming in to supplement what they do. Because if you look at UCA, UCA has what they are doing for the farmers. Now, the gap could be, say, access to credit, which would be what now we're coming to fulfill. So we work with them. The same with other NGOs. Now, we also have regional offices that we've been able to establish, and others are still coming up. Currently, we have a Northern Uganda region office, which is based in Gulu. We're also opening another in Hoima, that is for Bunyoro sub-region. And then we'll have the Western and Eastern, as well as West Nile. Now, all these avenues through which we use to be able to reach out to the small people in terms of smallholder farmers that we're trying to reach out to. So it's really not like a one-off kind of option. We exercise all options around us, but collaborations and partnerships are key that enable us to do that. And that is something really that has enabled us to be able to reach out to many of these, support them, and work with them in that through.
Right. Agricultural value chain and financing through cooperatives is what we are looking at this morning. So be on the conversation, 0709 602 592. That is our WhatsApp number that you are able to engage and ask these amazing gentlemen in studio with me to answer these questions in regards to that very topic that we are unpacking together. Staying with you, Mr. Emoy,
yeah.
Agriculture is a sector that employs a lot of women
yeah.
and youth as well. How exactly is UDB, what services is UDB providing to make sure that women and youth are very inclusive in this particular sector in Uganda?
So when you look at what you call the financially excluded groups, you realize that women are one of the top people who have actually been facing that. Youth are part of them. And then there are also SMEs, the smaller SMEs that are trying to do several things. And that is the biggest number of Ugandans who are involved in doing something productive. Now, UDB, being a development financial institution, would not be able to just ignore and let that be. We developed a solution. We call that the special programs solution. This is an intention deliberately built by the bank to be able to provide financial solutions to these three financially or formerly financially excluded groups. Women, for example, we have women loans that intend or target to support them in acquiring assets that they need to use for their productive purpose, working capital that they use to support their businesses. And if you look at that, what we call a women-owned business is one that should be majority owned by the women, or it should be producing items that are women-owned, for women use, yes? And the management should be majority women and as well as employees. So they were very strict in that area to make sure that when we say women alone, it should actually go to the right person who is actually in that line. Same with the youth. We were aware that, again, the youth with crude ideas that they come with, very innovative, lack access to debt or credit. And because of the issues, say, for example, capacities in terms of their management, or they don't have collateral. And so we also established in that a youth loan, enabling them to access funds that can help them buy assets to support them in the production of their items in their businesses, as well as working capital needs. The same with the SMEs. Now, all these, we're not simply putting out money. Again, I go back to what you call the enterprise support service. We do a blend where we offer credit or loans to them in addition to capacity building or technical support. Now, this is a blend because if you look at these three groups that I've talked about, women, youth, and the SMEs, all have gaps. And this is the reason most financial institutions really do not have a lot of appetite in interacting with them. Now, we don't want to simply put the money, but we also want to give them, capacity to build so that even after UDB, or if they don't intend to interact with UDB, they have at least capacity to be able to reach somewhere and get funded. So our enterprise support service comes down. We offer them the trainings. We offer them, the skilling that is relevant to areas of gap. We do what you call a needs assessment when we reach and interact with these particular groups. That needs assessment helps us to identify a gap or weakness, which then we craft, a solution. And in this, we're doing with quite strong partners as well. We have the Makerere University Business School is one of the key partners we work with in terms of, trainings. It could be marketing, could be bookkeeping, corporate governance, and the others. You also have the Uganda Management Institute, who is a key partner with us. Now, all these are brought in purposely because they have a lot that they have to offer, and so they have a solution that the people need. So when we offer out these services to the people who need this, we definitely blend so that at least it's a solution that befits their need, not just about putting money and they get challenges in even running their loans. So that's what we do. Right.
And speaking of needs assessment, I will pose this to you, Mr. Richard. What challenges are faced by smallholder farmers, grassroots farmers, in accessing along this value chain? What challenges are there?
Yeah, thank you so much. There are quite a number of challenges, issues that smallholder farmers face. First of all, these smallholder farmers don't have records. Some of them, you reach to them. Like I was giving an example where we went and did some profiling and assessment in cooperatives across the country. You try to access some records that the financiers and other stakeholders would want to look at before they support them, but they don't have those records. The other issues, one of the other challenges, issues of climatic issues. Farmers going into production, they have taken a loan from somewhere, and then the produce doesn't come out the way it is expected. At the end of it all, you find that they have lost. And also they have other challenges to do with inputs and stuff like that. They don't have access to genuine inputs. Now, when financiers come in, they look at several things, because before you give out a loan to a farmer, to a cooperative, or even to an individual, you first look at the ability to pay. So that's where most of our cooperatives and smallholder farmers get challenges with financial institutions. They have the need, but it actually can't qualify because of different challenges like I'm mentioning. At the end of the day, the bank won't give you money. But as an alliance, we try to prepare these farmers and groups to make sure that they put in place these systems, these records, the business plans in place and stuff like that, to ensure that at least if at all any partner, even if it's not a banker, can come and find a cooperative, come and find a farmer group which is empowered. So we try to see that we support them to mitigate some of those challenges and also the risks involved in their farming businesses.
Right, and you've talked about being able to qualify for a loan, for example. And now let me pose this to you, Mr. Peter. Speaking of qualifications, there are farmers who, currently the president is pushing the narrative of value addition to everyone doing whatever they are doing, especially in the agricultural sector. And value addition comes with purchasing quite a lot, for example, tractors or equipment, heavy equipment, mechanical equipment needed to add this value to whatever they are producing. So what exactly is UDB doing in helping smallholder farmers engage in the line of value addition through acquiring, equipment, mechanical equipment that they need?
Thank you very much. So one of the things we also look out for is not just to promote production. We're really strong in seeing how we can be able to promote value addition. And the value addition we're talking about here is not value addition done in Kampala when the farming is done in Gulu, or done in Kigezi and then value addition done in Kampala. The value will not be realized. The value shouldn't just be about, the small money that the farmer gets from the output produced, but also others in terms of employment and the rest. So we're really promoting value addition at grassroots, where you're talking about from where the production happens, mass production of that particular crop or foodstuff happens. There should be value addition. And we are emphasizing that to all our people whom we finance, cooperative societies, associations, small farmers, medium to large. So in doing so, we've been able to build also a solution or solutions that should be able to help them access the necessary capital that can enable them add value. We have an asset finance product. In this asset finance product, the farmer or the entrepreneur, the investor's contribution is 20%. Yeah, 20%, then the bank definitely contributes to 80%. Say, for example, you need a grinding mill for your maize. You need a cooler to be able to add value to your milk. You need a small coffee holler. You need maybe a rice processing facility. When you come through, we take 80% as the bank contribution, and you contribute 20%. Now, that particular asset becomes the core security that the bank takes. And intentionally, that's purposed, because we realize that most of these cooperators, smallholder farmers and medium, may not have land titles. And so taking up this would be sufficient enough to be able to enable that particular investment come through. And that's one of the things we're doing. But beyond that, we're also trying to see how we're connecting our farmers to markets. And these markets require value-added products. In so doing, you are definitely financing a situation where you put in support towards primary production, but also value addition. It could be basic cleaning of maize or grain, but because you must clean, why? Because Mandela Millers wants it clean, and so you must be able to deploy a system or a solution or a machine that can enable cleaning to happen. So that's what we're doing. The markets alone make it possible for these people to think about value addition. You've talked about, say, oil crops. So if you're going to be able to deliver soybeans, sunflower to a market, they need it cleaned, at least basic cleaning. So those are the things we do, and we emphasize that and we put through. So it's really in the core of the bank to do that. And we're supporting not just aspects of value addition to trade or sell within Uganda. We have interventions that we've taken across the borders, especially in the region, where we've connected our farmers to regional markets that require value-added products. Technically, that brings in the aspect of them accessing such technologies and equipment to do that. So that's what we're doing.
Right, thank you very much for that profound response. Now, Buchwezi, I see your WhatsApp identity as Buchwezi of Morema Universe. We are not able to play your audios, but please type your question or your opinion, we're able to read it and it's able to get a response in real time. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of the show. And somebody comes through and says, hello, I am new in agro value chain. I buy cereals like beans, nuts from Western, Koboko, and Bosoga. What I have seen is that cooperatives, if they exist, they are not known because they have to spend more time in the village to have 10 tons in a week. Advice on how I could know where to find these cooperatives in these villages. This is Nancy Adupa, and I think this question would be for you, Mr. Richard Sempija.
Thank you so much. The Uganda Cooperative Alliance works together with the commercial offices at district level. In case you're in a district and you want to locate a cooperative, for starters, you need to visit the commercial officer of a district. They have that database because they are involved in the day-to-day support of these cooperatives. So in case you want information to do with an agricultural cooperative in sub-county A, in village A, the databases are there. As an alliance, we also have information across the country because we work with district, local governments and commercial officers. We have that information as well. But the starting point, if you're in Koboko, kindly visit the sub-county where you are, you will access the information. At the Ministry of Trade, there is also that information. So when you say that these groups are not existing, actually we have a lot of active cooperatives across the country. But the issue with the public that they need to access this information from where it is. So every district has someone who works on cooperatives. It's a post-formation, it's a post-training, access to information, business, and stuff like that. Yes, thank you.
Right. This other question, I hope it is for Mr. Emoy, and let me just read it. It's quite lengthy,
okay,
but we'll be able to get around into the gist of it. Good morning. I'm Okwil Denish Okelo, CEO of Deno Agri Consultant Agency Uganda Limited, a company evolved from a community-based organization, CBO, established in 2022 due to lack of financial support. We registered as a limited company to enhance our impact. Our mission is to transform the lives of smallholder farmers by offering general agricultural consultations, input financing to boost productivity, tractor plowing services, direct market access with premium pricing, storage facilities through collection points near farmers, training on post-harvest handling, quality management, and warehouse management. And you say that now that we are registered with the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, we are seeking financing opportunities. Previously, as a CBO, we were only registered with the district CDO office. Can we access financing from the Uganda Development Bank? We urgently need financial support to meet growing demands. Thank you for considering our inquiry. This is, and he says, best regards, Okwid Denish Okelo, CEO, Deno Agri Consultant Agency Uganda Limited. Mr. Emoy, are you able to speak into this?
Yes. So if you look at that particular entity, it's a legal entity, and it's already working with farmers.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're happy to hear. Because if you find a registered company, already established and working with farmers, it means there is already access to output that they're buying from the farmers that then they can be able to process and sell to their markets. And for us, when we find such people, it becomes a good opportunity that we only don't need to say to fund to build their own capacity as a company, but we also want to go down to access the suppliers and producers who then feed it. So Mr. Dennis, you're welcome. We can be able to support your services. I mean, your need. Currently, we have our regional office in Gulu. You could be able to reach out to our regional office in Gulu and be able to obtain all the necessary information in terms of what is required. But also, let us not just look at supporting your need in terms of, say, machinery or working capital or other, non-financial support that you need. We also need to support your farmers. So when you visit us, please come in with an open heart to be able to allow us also reach out to your farmers and help build their capacity. It could just be trainings that then enable them to increase their productivity to feed you. So that then would be something that will be more transformative. So you're most welcome. Your need is really possible. You can be able to visit our regional office in Gulu.
Right, you've talked about non-financial services offered by UDB.
Yeah.
Please throw more light on that.
So, thank you. So the non-financial services here are basically solutions that are geared towards building capacity, or in other words, reducing weaknesses in where a business might be weaker. If you look at research, you will find that most of our small businesses, youth, women, or SMEs, or any other, have quite a number of problems. One is corporate governance. The businesses cannot separate the owner from the business. You know, you find that issues of record keeping is very poor. That you get a book at the business that does not have good records. There's no system that has been brought in, however manual it may be, to support the business. Looking at auditing or financial management, you find it very poor. Now, UDB would like to see how to address such. And because that is very core in terms of the sustainability of the business, the bank built an enterprise support service solution, which goes into enabling the bank to be able to support. Currently, this service is offered for free, and it's offered to what you call the prospective client and existing. Why prospective is because before you even come in and say, I would like to access a loan from the bank, that is one thing that we look at, especially for small scale farmers and as well as agro-processors. Why so is because we know already that you might be having a gap, and so we would like to help you address it. Now, after that, once the issues of corporate governance or bookkeeping or management systems have been improved, we also support you in putting the documentation together that then you will be able to submit to the bank to access a loan. That makes it easier for you to be able to get a solution or a service than a situation where you bring in a document and then you find that they've asked you to bring this document, add this and the other, which you actually don't know how to go around it. So our enterprise support service is intentionally built to enable our existing and prospective borrowers to get help before they actually, access debt. For those who are existing, we provide a debt, but we again identify at our approval stage that yes, we're offering a loan of XYZ amount, but then on top of that loan, we're offering these additional services. Why so? Because during the appraisal time, these are the gaps that we've been able to identify and see lacking. So our team is assembled, that then begins the work. And as I speak now, they're all around in West Nile, doing much of that trainings to help them build capacity. So it's really a solution that the bank has intentionally tailored to help, provide you can call it, can I say, challenges that were previously affecting the people get solved before they actually, go to the stage of getting support. And in this, we do not only support that person who wants to get access for finance from us. We train people, we take in cohorts, we train them, and they go and either stay and run their businesses with the skill that we've given them, or they go and access financial solutions from other financial players, or they come to UDB. So we're quite flexible, and that's why we're happy to do that. Thank you.
Oh, right. Very profound. This conversation is almost coming. It's starting indeed to come to its close. But let's also make sure that we close it with profoundness. And I'll ask this question to you, Mr. Sempija. How is the Alliance helping to build financial literacy and creditworthiness of its members?
Thank you so much. The Cooperative Alliance looks at a lot of things when we are supporting cooperatives and groups. We build what we call a system in a cooperative because we ensure that they are properly placed to access services. The gentleman from UDB has been talking about documentation, has been talking about which records to find. UCA supports the cooperatives and the members in groups to ensure that they set up all these systems. One, the books of records, the production books should be available, the marketing books should be available, the business plans, the operational policies and guidelines. So as an alliance, we ensure that we put a cooperative or a group in a position whereby any partner, not only financing, any partner comes in and finds the group that is worth supporting. We also do trainings, specialized trainings. We have regions that are spread in this country. We have Central where I coordinate. We have Eastern in Mbale. We have West Nile. We have Lango. We have Chigezi. We have Mbarara. We are spread everywhere. And we normally hold what we call regional trainings. Of late, we have been having financial literacy trainings, empowering cooperators and members to know how basically to support themselves and also access financing. So we do a lot of training and capacity building. And on top of that, at the Alliance, we have the stationaries, the books of records, the samples. Whoever comes around can get this book. They're available at a very small cost. When you come, we have a unit that supports cooperators to train them through, to understand exactly how to use them. But at the end of the day, when he comes and he wants a book, he wants to see a cash book, he wants to see business records, he can access them. So we build capacities of our members, we build capacities of groups across the country.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. Sempija Richard. And Denish Okelo, you come back and you say, thank you very much, UDB, for your prompt response. To facilitate smoother coordination, may I request for your contact number, please? And that is Mr. Dennis, who wants a way of engaging you, Mr. Emoy, if it's possible. But also one last one that is indeed going to you, Mr. Emoy. Somebody comes through and says, good morning, I am Wongita Abdul Razak Juma, Moyo District, West Nile. Where in West Nile can we locate you, UDB?
Okay, so I will, thank you very much, first of all.
Yes,
I will
please.
give you this card so that you can be able to read for them the office lines that they can be able to reach out. But Danish, you're most welcome again. Definitely the number will be able to be provided to you that you should be able to call. But besides the number, I've already advised, if you are any closer to Gulu, please just visit our Gulu regional office as well. They will be of help to you very fast in terms of giving you all the other support information that you need beyond the telephone. In fact, a one-on-one interaction is really quite productive, sometimes more than the telephone. So I would really emphasize that you go in and interact with our regional office for Northern Uganda, which is currently in Gulu. In Arua, I request you kindly, currently for now, you will be able to access us in Gulu if you really want an interaction. But again, I will provide the telephone details for the Gulu regional office, for the Northern Uganda regional office manager, whom you can definitely be able to call and seek an appointment. We will be coming up with a regional branch for West Nile before the end of the year. But for now, you will be able to interact with us through the Northern Uganda regional office, which is currently domiciled in Gulu. So I will probably give both the numbers for the regional office manager, who will definitely be handy to support both people.
All right.
Yeah.
And let me close this off. I see many of your comments are coming through at this last minute, but our time is fast spent. And just like Danish, this number could also be helpful to you as well. So do call, save the number of that is 0414 355 500. 0414 355 500. Or alternatively, you could call 0312 355 500. 0312 355 500. That is office number of Mr. Emoy John Peter. And for the Gulu direction, the Northern
Uganda
direction, Gulu manager is Mr. Samuel B. Ongom, and his number is 0774 424 204. 0774 424 204. Thank you so much for being on the show. And Mr. Sempija, if someone wants to get in touch with UCA, is there a number that you publicly give out that we can read quickly before we leave the studio? And that is one that can be easily accessed by everyone. That if you want to engage the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, and in particular Mr. Richard Sempija, please do call 0414 258 848. 0414 258 848 or 0414 258, pretty much the same, 258 898. It changes the 898. 0414 258 898. Save those numbers and engage. All the questions you're asking here will be answered directly by by this gentleman. Thank you so much for being on the show, and that's it from Good Morning Uganda and this Wednesday. Thank you so much for being on the show. Good Morning Uganda Extra still has your eyes and your audience and your attention to engage, so make sure that you stick around, but also sports, JMU Sports is up next.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Uganda Development Forum, in partnership with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, is organizing a 2-day Musevenomics Conference on the 29th and 30th of May 2025. The conference is dedicated to exploring Uganda's revolutionary economic model under the